This is Kilo, and this video is in response to a commenter on video number 9 titled How to Rekey a Defiant Doorknob. Now, you can tell by video number 9 that that was one of my earlier videos when I only had a handful of subscribers, and they all were, or the majority at least, were apprentice locksmiths. The video was in response to those asking how to rekey a Defiant doorknob, and when an apprentice locksmith asks that question, what they mean is how do they remove the cylinder from the knob, as they already understand the rekey process as they have practiced on Kwiksets but have never come across a Defiant at that point in their career. So the commenter was very angry that I didn't show the entire process. So I'm going to go ahead and make up for that by rekeying the cylinder for you here. Now, if you are here to rekey your doorknob for the first time and you haven't been to this channel before, go ahead and click this link right here, and I show you how to disassemble the knob to remove the cylinder. You do not even have to remove it from your door. All you need to do is just follow the instructions in that video, and you can go ahead and pop him off and remove the cylinder. Now, from here, you'll only need a few tools. You will need your original key, or if you don't have an original key, you will need a blank KW1 key and a shim. If you do not know how to shim a lock, go ahead and click this link, and I show you how to shim a lock. Now, from there, all you're going to need is a tool to remove the C-clip. You can use something like this gut wrench from Sparrows lockpicks. If you are just a homeowner and not a locksmith, you'll probably have a flathead screwdriver somewhere close by. So go ahead and grab a flathead, and then you will need a plug follower that fits your lock cylinder, or the plug here. So if you need help with any of these tools, I will go ahead and leave links in the description below. That way you can go ahead and pick those up if you are looking to do this correctly. Now, I don't have the original key, so I'm going to go ahead and shim this hopefully pretty quickly. But first what you'll do is you'll pick up the lock, and you want to fashion the C-clip sideways like this. And the reason for this is because you are going to pry on the clip to remove it, and you don't want it to hit this lip here behind the Bible. So if we try to pry upwards, it's just going to run into this. So make sure that you try to fashion it as much to the side as possible. So let's see if we can push him back around here. So you will go ahead and pry with your finger on one side of the clip and a screwdriver on this side, and you'll pry backwards until you get it about this far. Now from here, you will take your screwdriver and wedge it between the clip here, and keep your thumb behind the clip. This is important because when you go to pry, if you don't have your thumb here, this clip can go flying and you may not even be able to find him as he blends into any environment he lands in. So you'll take your clip and set him somewhere safe, and then from there you can just go ahead and let go of the screwdriver. It's done its job. Now, I don't have the original key like I said, so I'm going to go ahead and shim it with this blank. I'm going to go ahead and do this pretty quick. If you need help on shimming, like I said, feel free to go ahead and check out that video. Now we're just going to go ahead and shim him here. So we have now turned over our plug. If you already have your original key, you don't even have to worry about that. You just turn the key and leave it in the plug. Now from here, you'll take your plug follower and just follow him straight through, just like this. Just as a pro tip here, when you get to this point, go ahead and leave the follower just a little ways out in front of the cylinder. This way you know which way is the front of your cylinder. I have seen homeowners and rookies at the lock shop, when they finish rekeying, not realize which way was the front and try and insert the plug from the wrong end, and they run into some issues. So to help you know which way is the front and which way is the back, this one is pretty self-explanatory, as you see this little lip here. But just in case you're rekeying a lock that you come across that doesn't have this, go ahead and just get in the habit of leaving the short end out. So from here, you'll go ahead and we'll just dump out all of our pins, and we now have a clean slate here. You'll go ahead and take your new key, place it into the lock, and this one actually has our codes written on the key. If you do not know your key code, go ahead and click this link and I show you how to use a key gauge, and I will leave a link in the description below to where you can buy one of those. Now, you don't really need the key gauge, as there's not really a lot of options when it comes to this lock specifically. You only have 6 choices and pins, so you can just trial and error, which one's which. Now, one way to gauge it is if it's a really low cut, it's probably going to be a 6 or a 5. And if it's a really shallow cut, it'll be closer to, if it looks like a blank key, that would be a 1. This looks like 3, 5, maybe a 1, or well, I guess we have the code here, 35265, so 35265. So that's the cuts here, but if you don't have a key gauge, just to show you, if it's really low, go ahead and try from a number 6 and then work your way back up. If it's really shallow, try from number 1, and so on and so forth. Now, our cuts are 35265. So we're going to go ahead and grab a 3 for our first pin. So we're going to look at number 3, which would be right here, and we'll put him in, and he lines up flush. Now, you do not want him to sink too low, but you also don't want him to be too high either. If he's too high, you're going to run into some clicking issues and it may not even turn over. If it's too low, your top pin will drop into the plug and again prevent you from turning the plug over. So our next cut is a 5, and our last cut is a 5. So we'll go ahead and grab 2 5 pins here. We'll put him in number 2 and put him in number 5. And our third cut is a number 2, so we'll go ahead and grab pin number 2. We can grab him here, place him inside, and a number 6 is our 4 cut, so we'll go ahead and grab him, and you now have a re-pinned plug. From here, what we'll do is, I'm right-handed, so I'm going to switch this around. We'll go ahead and pick up our cylinder with our plug follower, noting which side is our short end. And just to show you guys, let me set this down here for a second without losing the pins. If you look on this plug follower, there are these slots you find, like this side on this end, whichever end you use. Pay attention to these slots as if they are facing upwards towards the Bible, and you go to remove the plug or reinsert the plug, your top pins and springs can drop down into these slots and cause you problems. If that happens to you, go ahead and click this link and I show you how to rebuild a lock cylinder and correct that problem. Now, from here, you'll go ahead and you can leave the key in, or you could remove the key. Removing the key makes these bounce around, so I prefer to just go ahead and leave the key inside while I'm doing this. Making sure that the slot is facing the bottom of the cylinder, we will place our plug up against it, And make sure that your pins are kind of at like a 45-degree angle. You don't want it to be facing straight up, as you don't want your top pins to fall into these chambers. You want it to be, about this angle from the top. That way the this flat part of the plug rides along and keeps the pins up inside the Bible. From here, you'll just press it against and slide him back in, and you will go ahead and try out your key, making sure that he now works. Now from here, be very careful. You want to press your thumb onto the face of the lock and pull the key out. You do not want to just pull out the key, as if you just pull it straight out, this whole entire plug is going to follow right back through, and all of your pins and springs are going to fly everywhere. So hold on to the face with your thumb as you pull your key out. From here, we will go ahead and take our clip, place him right back on, push him in, and you are now rekeyed. From here, we'll go ahead and reinsert him into the knob, just like so. And I show you in that video on rekeying the doorknob that one pro tip is always to just take any key that fits the lock and place it inside while you're in this position, because while this cylinder has these little arms that hold it right here against kind of these rails, some cylinders don't have this, and if you don't follow this through, the plug can fall into this knob and kind of get twisted around, and it's really difficult to get it back out. And so as long as you have a key here, it can do whatever it wants, and you can always pull it right back to where it needs to be. From here, once you have it completely flat, go ahead and face it face down. Take your ring here and you'll place him back on, just like so. Make sure you press firmly, as you don't want him loose or sticking up in any way. Now, sorry about that, phone was ringing. So from here, you'll go ahead and just slide him right back on. You'll line him up and click him back in, and you now have your knob fully rekeyed, and you are all set. So hopefully this makes up for anyone who feels like my first video was misleading in the title in any way, but hopefully this helps you guys out. So if it did, feel free to leave a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more locksmith videos, how-to and DIY videos, and I hope you guys have a really nice day.